That's exciting to start off with a yawn. But anyway, it was just what I was feeling. I was feeling a little bit tired, just a little bit. So, you caught me yawning. Now, is this gonna be in the way, this light? Don't know. Don't know. Been decompressing since I got home and totally forgot to uncover our girl here. So, don't know if this consistency is going to be right, but I'm going in regardless. I just saw a video of Gabrielle Union singing that old song, Still the One I Love, some, only one I love, some, to Dwayne Wade, and not stuck in my head. Thanks, Gabby. Thanks so much. And it's going to be in my head pretty much all night. I feel it. At this point, you're using a feather light touch because you absolutely do not want to do the most. At this stage, you want to be able to shave and shape very gradually, spinning the turntable around as you need to, switching tools as you need to, taking away only what's needed, especially when it comes to areas that you join together after the fact, like this head and this neck. The neck is joined to the uppermost part of the torso. The head is joined to the neck. So you're just checking positioning. And shaving away in a way that works. Like getting in here. All right, so I think I'm gonna start working on the easier parts first, which is, that blocks you completely, doesn't it? Dang it. I can't cope with the light in my face. Let me see. If I bring it around closer to me, which is always a problem because I'm klutzy, so I end up bumping into the tripod a lot, but I'll try my best not to do that. But this vantage point for the light will help me tremendously. Taking some off of her neck. Not a whole heck of a lot, but enough. All right. Shave a little down on the bodice so that it can accentuate the clothing line that I started. Well, the line right here where her top sort of extends out a little. When I'm doing the finite work like this, I don't know if that's the right context that I just used that word in. I got a lot of words in my head because when I was a child and a teen, I was an avid reader. And because I haven't been an avid reader for decades now, a lot of that vocabulary that I've got stored up there, I'm not really utilizing, or I'm not seeing it in the context it's supposed to be used. So there's sort of like this bit of memory where I think it's right, but I'm not sure because I'm not exercising that particular muscle, you know? So forgive me when I sound ignorant with my use of words, and it's because at this stage in my life I sort of am. Some of these things are just floating around, and my mind tells me, use that. And I rock with it. And sometimes I find out, no, you should not have used that. That was not right at all. But it's okay. So anyway, when I'm working on these details, this is a very tiny tool. It's a very unforgiving tool, very sharp. You make the wrong move, and you have dug in so deep. And I find that if I'm holding it firmly, like this, holding it down close, I will gouge accidentally. So I use it like a paintbrush, where I'm holding it like this, very loosely, far away from the actual head of the tool, so that I don't even get a chance when I'm tempted to apply too much pressure, because I'm not holding it firmly enough to apply enough pressure to destroy or mar. Because if I did, holding it so loosely like this, it could easily just drop out of my hands. And that's fine. I'd actually rather have it drop out of my hands than to go in too deeply when I'm working on the details, excuse me guys, and take away areas that I need it. You feel me? So there's that. This life is something you don't know how long you've got. Thinking about my Uncle Freddie right now. It's been a long road. And he is a soldier. So he fights. But I'm hearing now that maybe it's time for him to stop fighting. And that's sobering, you know? It's just sobering because there are people in your world, be it family or not, that are just larger than life. And you really and truly think of them in terms of forever. We know better though, you know? We know better. But it's still a lot when it becomes an eventuality. All right, switch to this one. I'm not going to do the most finessing haven't decided exactly where I'm going to put in hollow lines, but I told you on one of the other videos that it is most likely going to be taking the wire, pulling it through from here to here. Don't know if that will hold. I think it'll be okay if I don't pull it up too high into the neck, because I don't know, I think that head is firmly on. So it might be okay. I might be able to do it like right around here, pull down, take a little clay out. Pretty sure that I'm gonna cut right about here once this is more so leather hard, because what you have to think about for a columnar structure like this is all of this inside is clay, right? So it's working as its own armature. It's clay on top of clay on top of clay in a solid block. But then once I hollow that out and I leave a wall thickness about that wide, and then now there's the wall, and then there's this opening. And I need to, if I separate this in two, I'm going to have to press this down onto this. Now that there's this opening, it can buckle. That can happen. Whereas before it couldn't, because this was all solid, filled with clay. It can't go too much further than you want it. But if it's like this and you press too hard and that collapses in, now you've caused this to tumble forward. So I'm going to have to think more about what I want to do, or if I'm going to let this remain solid, because my concern is this is a heaviness right here. If it's supported by solid clay, removing that support and then trying to smash this into here. And then remember, I've got to go in and I've got to get rid of the seam lines. So I'm pressing. That can happen. So I'm really thinking that the smart thing for me to do is going to be to separate this base, lay this on a towel, and then cut from the bottom up into here as far as I can go, right? Now, I'm not worried about putting this together. It's still in the same formation. I'm not pressing, applying pressure. It's all still together. That's what I'm thinking when it becomes leather hard. I might make the decision to not hollow this out. This may be a heavy piece. So we'll see. Of course, I've got the video, so I'll keep you posted. You'll know what I decide. And this is me working just to make sure this base is substantial enough that when I wire this off of the turntable, you always leave like a sliver, a very thin layer. Well, at least I do. I leave a thin layer of clay behind. I think sort of everybody does. And you don't want this so thin that when you lose that thin layer of clay, now this is flimsy. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, I'm going to keep pulling this in a little bit more just to make sure that base is nice and sturdy. All right, that's enough talking, y'all. I've been talking too much. This may seem tedious to you, but this part in hollowing is incredibly calming for me, because it's not a lot that usually goes wrong during this stage unless you get too heavy-handed and end up scraping off more clay than you intended to. But for the most part, it's just such an easy flow of finessing. Did I say I was going to shut up? I said I was going to shut up. What is wrong with me? can't stop thinking about my Uncle Freddie, guys. And I guess it's just because, you know, the news that I'm hearing, the updates on him staying here. I don't know. It's messing with my head tonight. And I'm trying to remain in a quiet mode, but all of this is going through my brain, so I'm not really succeeding. And I just feel like I'm watching our mountains being toppled. Speaking of my family, because like I said, they're just some people in your lives that you think of as forever in spite of yourself. We're all adults, we're all humans, we all know the circle of life, we all know that we are never going to be forever. And even with that knowledge, you're just never ready, you know? You're never ready for the inevitable. And the men in my family have always been mountains for me, you know? I'm fortunate. I've always been safe with them. Every single one of them, you know? I would come down here from Brick City, summers as a child, hang out with my cousins, get to watch my grandmother doing her thing in the kitchen, you know? And a large family, large family. So a lot of activity in that house, a lot of love. And most importantly, one of the things for me was safety, just not having to deal with some of the trauma that so many have had to deal with. And that's a very, very, very important aspect of loving my uncles the way that I do, you know, and growing up with them and being completely protected, respected, cherished, and kept safe, and being able to rely on them for that. And if that vibe is not the material of mountains, then I don't know what is. So what do you do when your landscape keeps changing? Your mountains are being toppled, and now you've got to look out into the space where they once stood, and everything's different. It'll never look the same again. That will always be the place where they stood. Does anything even replace it over time? Or is it always just that empty chasm where your mountains once stood? I think that it's always that empty chasm where your mountains once stood. And once the scenery has changed, once the landscape has changed like that, you know, something's taken away, because it'll never go back. And it's always going to be that big empty space that may still be beautiful, but it's also still where your mountain once stood. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I'd have to say, melancholy and reflective is the vibe tonight. Hope I'm not bringing anyone down. I don't want to do that. Just want you to know me as you watch me create the things that mean so much to me. All right, so I'm going to call it at 55 minutes and 27 seconds. Let's go ahead and do a spin for you. Let's focus on the one that I smoothed out some. So this one, I just pretty much tried to smooth out with the wire tool. I'm gonna go in and do better. Of course, I still have to do her face, but I wanted to get the neck down, and that neck is looking lovely. Posture is insane, and I love it. Like, I love it so much. and the clay is still pretty soft. So I'll be able to go back in with this tool and do even more smoothing. And as you can see, she's still very rough. So after I take my little quick break, I'm going to come and work on her. So I'll have a second session, and then that is going to be it for the night. And I thank you, as always, for hanging in there with me. For those of you who take time to go to the YouTube channel and watch the whole process, as opposed to the little tidbits that get shown on TikTok, I really appreciate that. I hope you're getting something from it. You know, if you're a new sculptor yourself and this is motivating for you in any way, I'm really excited and happy to be a part of that. And, you know, definitely hit me up with any recommendations. If you see there are things that I'm doing and you're like, why would she do that the hard way? I promise you it's because I don't know it's the hard way. Like, I'm really just trying to get along and do the best that I can. I'm sitting up here sort of seeing an area of this that I want to shave off. So trying to make a little bit of a line, and I'll decide later. I think that's going to come off. Yeah, so like I said, I really appreciate the support. I appreciate you watching me grow in this journey in sculpting that I undertook back in 2002. I think I'm making tremendous progress. I'm really excited to see what else I'm going to be doing with clay, and, you know, how much more I'm going to grow in this. I feel like hopefully I've got enough time to grow in this and enough opportunity to explore and just really, you know, fall even more in love with it than I already am. So, yeah, those are the Vessel Goddesses, part of a series, part of a sketch that I think I doodled out at lunch one time back in July. I'll show you the sketch. I'm going to post it up here so you can see what it evolved into. All right, y'all. Peace. Yeah, it's still too soft to do a lot of finessing. It's just creating a lot of little, you know, beaded areas that I have to get rid of, get rid of that I would prefer to be able to brush off. And I can't really do that cleanly right now. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'll save this for tomorrow. And what I'll do is let it sit out for a few hours. And as older people are wont to do, I'll probably end up waking up in the middle of the night at some point to use the bathroom. And then I'll get up and I'll come check on her. And, sorry guys, I'm trying to focus on this little maneuver. Yeah, I'll get up and check on her. And if she's drying too quickly, then I can, of course, go ahead and, you know, cover her. So yeah, so that's what I'll do. So I'll just let her sit out. So yeah, the clay will be in better condition tomorrow, and then I can go in and really, really, really smooth them out. All right, so this is the part where I ask you guys to really cross your fingers for me, because hopefully I've constructed this solidly enough and wedged the clay completely enough so that when the goddesses go into the fire, they make it out on the other side. That's what I really, really want to happen for this piece, because I would love to see it finished. I don't even think I'm going to take a chance on glazing it and playing the guessing game with the colors or what may happen. I'll just coat it with a white matte glaze, and then I'm gonna paint over it and control exactly how I want them to be colored. So yeah, just what I think is a beautiful piece that will hopefully be available at one of the Element of Surprise online art sales, either in December or January. I'm figuring that I'll finish this piece by, oh, it's late in the week because we missed a day. So it's Tuesday. So yeah, I'm figuring maybe by Thursday, I might have her ready to dry. Or you know what? Let's not even push it. Let's call it Friday. So let's say by Friday we have it ready to dry. That'll be September 6th. Definitely want to let it dry through to October 6th, November 6th. And if I can get it in just before whatever the Element of Surprise online art sale date is going to be, we'll call it EOS for short for right now, then, you know, like I said, if they survive the fire, this will be a beautiful one to acquire from the Vessel Goddess series. You know, if it's available at that time, who knows? Mulberry Art Gallery may speak up for it, and they sort of get first dibs. But, you know, the wonderful thing about creating is that you learn as you go, and you can recreate pieces, you know? So if I see where this is one that gets acquired quickly and people are just like, God dang it, that was supposed to be mine, which Element of Surprise online art sale is going to have a setup for that too, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, so if somebody misses it and it's just like, I really wanted that piece, but I wasn't able to get it now, who knows? No promises, but I might make a replica. I may continue along in this series with doing two goddesses united like this. It's not going to be this exact same one. It'll never be this exact same one. But, you know, we'll see what inspiration dictates and how it tells me to move. And if there's opportunity, who knows? This may not be the last you see of Vessel Goddesses instead of a Vessel Goddess. So we clocked out at, I've been talking for a long time. I don't know. Let's just call it 20 minutes. And that's the beauties on a slow spin. And I'm going to share the sketch. I'm going to look at that date. I feel like it was July 16th, but I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. But anyway, you'll see the sketch and see how a sketch became this. All right? Love y'all. Peace.